You're listening to Ask Mr. Brown. Got questions? Well, ask Mr. Brown. He'll give you his perspective on your questions. He's a speaker, a mentor. He's the choice guy who wants to help you make better choices to live a better life. So go ahead, ask Mr. Brown.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Ask Mr. Brown. This is the relaunch of a show, a podcast I've done several times, and it's like maybe season 3, if you count that as seasons. But I'm excited to be relaunching this show because I want to help people make better choices to live a better life. That's our whole motto, because when you make better choices, you live a better life. And so thank you for joining us. And as our announcer so eloquently, as he said so well, that I'll give you my perspective on your questions. And we didn't want to call this a question and answer time because the questions that are posed to me have very different perspectives. You can ask someone one question, ask them another question, and two people have different perspectives. And sometimes two people may have 4 different perspectives. I don't know. But I want to help you by giving you my perspective on your questions. So thanks for joining us for this episode of Ask Mr. Brown. Let me go ahead and fade this music out. Although I really like this music. Do you like this music? I like it. I like this music a lot. But let me fade it out as we get started today. Now, let me explain something about this show. It is a podcast. It will be on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts. It will be on Spotify and any other place that you find or listen to podcasts. It will also be on our YouTube channel. You can check it out at hellomrbrown.com is our website. But you can check it out on YouTube. So I don't have one of those special URLs yet for YouTube. So you just got to search for Mr. Brown. But spell Mr. the right way. M-I-S-T-E-R, Mr. Brown. Search Mr. Brown and you'll find this on YouTube as well. And I'm excited about it, and I'm ready to start this show. So with that said, I'm gonna jump right into it. And let me one more thing. I'm not gonna jump in yet. Let me say one more thing. This episode, this podcast, I really want to give one question a week, except today, because the question that was submitted to me was asked, and it got 2 parts to it. And it came from Modoc High School. So Modoc, shout out to Alturas, Modoc High School, Modoc Middle School. I did the assembly not too long ago. It was a great assembly. Thank you guys for listening. Actually, I spoke 10 times in 2 days. Did an assembly for both schools and then breakout sessions for each grade. And I tell you what, it was amazing. But brother was tired when it was done. I was real tired. The first night they told me to go to this taqueria place. I went to there. Second night I went to the ice cream place, which are right next door to each other. But it was a great time. Thank you guys for inviting me. Thank you, Steph Curry, not Stephen Curry, Steph Curry, up there in Alturas, and all you guys people up there. So this question came from your school. I'm gonna do my best to give you my perspective on this question, and it's got to do with me. So, and I think it has to do with other people too. But here's the question that was submitted: 2-part question. Why do you decide to become a motivational speaker to obnoxious kids? Why did you decide to become a motivational speaker to obnoxious kids? Second part of the question is: what are some of the craziest things that you've been told or have experienced during or after a speech/talk? Well, let me talk about the first one first. I did not decide to become a motivational speaker to obnoxious kids. I decided to become a motivational speaker to kids, teens, adults, anyone who will listen, professionals, educators, whoever. Some of the kids I speak to can sometimes be obnoxious, but I haven't had too many times where I was outright disrespecting. And then when I felt I was, those kids usually apologized when I was done with my assembly. So I don't think all kids are obnoxious. Maybe this person is speaking from experience where this person may feel the students in their school are obnoxious. And I didn't get any of that from the schools. When I was at Alturas, I didn't get any of that vibe of being obnoxious. I had to move one kid in the high school to sit somewhere else so he wouldn't be a distraction, and he was fine after that. And same thing with the middle school. I think I had to move one kid too, and we were all good. So I don't think kids are too obnoxious, or I didn't have any obnoxious kids at that assembly. And let me explain something that really excites me about assemblies, because when I do assemblies, when I come in, most kids think 1 or 2 things when it comes to assembly. Maybe they announce an assembly, and the kids are either like, "Yay, I get out of class," or something like, "Man, we got to miss class." So there's so many different feelings when you have these people coming to an assembly. They don't know what to expect. Maybe they think of past experience where somebody just lectured them for an hour. Most kids tell me afterwards the assembly was fun, it was engaging, and that's my goal. I don't want to just lecture people and tell them how bad they are. I want to give them hope. But one of the biggest goals I get, or thrills I get, is when kids show up and you can tell, at least I can tell, or my assumption is through their body language, they don't want to be there. Literally, they don't want to be there. They don't plan on listening. They plan on doing something else. Someone had their hoodies on, slouching in their chairs, and they have no desire to hear what I got to say. And that's their choice. As long as they don't interrupt what I'm saying, they're fine. But one of my joys is when I see those students, start to sit up, lean in, and just start engaging. And I'm like, yes, I got them. And sometimes I go to school and I'll see kids and I'm like, okay, those two boys right there, I need to get them on my team. Otherwise, it's going to be a bad day for both of us because they just look like they want to do something else. And that's one of my biggest joys. And also when guys come up to me after assembly and they say thank you, they want to shake my hand. I had a kid recently, 2 kids just waited till everybody was gone, walked up and said, hey, thanks for coming. Thank you for what you had to say today. And I'm like, wow, that's cool, because most times guys, they don't want to necessarily talk, but they come up and say something and say thank you. So I really, really enjoyed that. So second part of the question, what are some of the things that have happened to me during assembly, after assembly, some craziest things? Let me tell you one of the craziest things that happened. If you've heard me speak before, I do this, what I call the smackdown, kind of give my rules. They're called respect rules, talk about respect. And one of the students was in the front row on the floor. He was trying to sneak and eat a bag of potato chips. And the thing was, it was a family-sized bag. And the brother was trying to sneak and eat like I couldn't see him. He's on the front row. I'm like, dude, I see you. Give me some chips. So that was kind of funny when I saw that. Like, dude, what do you think you're doing? Like, I'm blind or something? And that's the funny thing. When I speak to students, I think sometimes students think that when adults stand before them, we go blind and deaf. Like, we don't see you. And I tell them, I see you and I hear you. So please respect me because I'm going to respect you. So that was funny. So another thing that was funny to me, or actually wasn't funny, but some of the stories that I hear, after one assembly, I noticed a student staring at me. I was talking to other students, and I noticed in the corner he kept looking at. He was just sitting there looking at me, looked kind of creepy in the sense, like he didn't even really blink. But I noticed him staring at me. After all the other kids left, he came up to me and he said, "You know what? I want to tell you I respect you." And I said, "Thank you." He said, "I thought I would never say that to someone like you." And I'm like, He's like, "My family are part of the Ku Klux Klan. If you don't know what that is, that's a white supremacy group where they don't like blacks or anyone that's not white." And he said, I thought I would never say that to someone like you because of my family, but I respect you. And we talked about some other things as well. And one of the questions I probably should have asked them, are your family members who in the KKK, are they here in this town that I'm staying in tonight? I didn't ask that question, but I thought that was amazing that he was able to hear me, even though I was black, and he was able to say, I respect you, and respected the story and things I had to say. So I thought that was one of the good stories that I remember. It was kind of crazy because, like, man, and the thing is, that night I was speaking at the local youth group, and he came that night because he heard I was speaking there. He came and heard some more. So that was really cool. Another one, this happened recently in assembly. I had a girl come up to me. She was at the middle school. And she came up after I spoke and she said, my brother goes to the high school, and my brother, he's really mean to me and my siblings. But yesterday after you spoke, he came and he apologized to us. And I was like, for real? Like, and I didn't even tell him to go apologize. It's not like we had a conversation. I didn't know who he was. But through the message and through what I talked about, he realized how he was treating his siblings and he needed to stop that. So I thought that was really cool. Let me think of another one. I hear some amazing stories about abuse and kids who overcome some of that abuse. I was in Kansas one day, and a girl afterwards, we were doing a sex education class, and she had been abused sexually by several people. It was a very violent thing, and she had kind of lost hope about her value. And I was able to talk to her, and with some of her friends were around, and I said, what happened to you? I'm so sorry that happened to you, but that does not define who you are. It may define who those people who did that to you are. But that does not define who you are, does not change your value. You still have value. And really encouraged her to, and not making light of what happened. It's horrible what happened to her. And that's the thing that it's one of the reasons I want to speak to kids and students, or just anyone for that matter, because I want to give people hope, especially kids, especially teens who deal with all kind of circumstances. And I want them to have hope. And I want to be a real, genuine person who will tell them honestly that life is tough these days. I'm not one of those parents who say my life was tougher than yours. It is tough being a teenager. It's tough being a kid today. There's so many things that you have access to, but so many things have access to you, and so many pressures and things that it's hard. And every generation had their hard things. But I think this is tough, and I want to be that person who can be real about that, but also give you hope that you can overcome all your circumstances. When I talk about that choices are the puzzle pieces of life, or when you make better choices, live a better life, you may not be able to control all your circumstances, but you can always choose how you respond to the circumstances. And I wanted that young lady to know, listen, don't let those people continue to abuse you for the rest of your life. You need to move on from this. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, you might need some counseling, some help, but that does not have to define who you are, nor the rest of your life. And again, students ask me all the time, is it really that easy? I didn't say it was easy, but I'm saying I'm speaking truth, that you can overcome those things. And yeah, we can compare lives and say, hey, my life was worse than yours, my life is better than yours. Yeah, we can do that all the time. But the thing is, nobody wants to come to your pity party. And sometimes the people that hurt you in your life, they want you to be hurt. Don't give them that power in your life. And so that's a story that I will never forget, because I really wanted to give her hope, but I want to give all students hope, no matter what circumstance you find yourself in. So that was a really deep one I never forgot. Let me give you one more. This one probably motivates me to continue doing this, because doing what I do is not easy. I mean, booking events, trying to convince administrators and teachers to let me come in and speak to their students, and especially if they had bad experiences in the past where a speaker came in and bored the kids and no one was listening, and then to get paid to speak. Most students say, "Hey, you do it free?" I'll do, sure, but actually get paid to make a living, it's difficult. It's not easy work. Trying to build a team, that's not easy, but several things motivate me to continue. And this story is one of those. I spoke at a school, and about 2 months or 3 months later, after I spoke at a school, I get a Facebook message from this young lady, and it was long. I mean, it was one of those Facebook messengers, and it was like long. And I started reading it, and honestly, I started crying. Like, I was tearing up. And basically, she had told me that that day that I came to her school, she had planned on going home and hanging herself. She'd already tried to commit suicide once by slitting her wrist. She said, if you didn't notice me, I was in the front row, and I had a bandage on my wrist because I tried to slit my wrist. And that night I made my mind up I was going to hang myself. And I was like, whoa. And so she begins to tell me why all this happened, why she decided to do that. But then she mentioned what I opened my assembly with, and I told the story, and I've told it to several different schools in that area. And the administrator that was taking me from school to school, he came to me like 2 minutes before I was to speak. He said, I don't know if you should tell that story at this school, because we've had several suicides in the last couple of years, and I don't know if you want to bring that up. And I said, hey, I'm here to serve you. Whatever you want me to do, think is best, I'll do. He goes over to talk to the principal. The principal said, oh, yeah, you might not want to bring that up. But the principal said, let's go talk to the counselor. We walk up to the counselor. Counselor says, yes, talk about it. And so we did, and told a story that I tell a lot of schools. But ultimately, my point of the story is just never give anyone that kind of power in your life to think your life is not worth living. You're in a temporary stage in life. You're a teenager. You're junior high school, and it can be tough. But listen, your life matters, and if you can make it through these years, you got a long life ahead of you. And so never give anyone that kind of power in your life to make you think your life is not valuable, because you matter. Your life is valuable. And so I say that amongst other things too. And I didn't spend that long on it. It was like my opening part. And she said, when I said that, she made the decision not to hang herself. And that story stuck with me. And she started saying, you saved my life. And I was like, I didn't save your life, but I'm glad you heard the message. I'm glad that you're still here with us, because you matter. And so those kind of things give me the motivation to continue doing, even if they're obnoxious kids, which I don't think many of them are. And those are some of the stories that really, really do have impacted me and continue to impact me for a long time. So, yeah, I got so many stories that I could tell you. Let me tell you this last one. This is kind of funny. And these things all are some of the things that I experienced or witnessed or just happened to me. But this one was funny. So these kids they saw me, and they kept saying, choose well. And they were expecting me to respond by saying, oh, yeah, because that's what I do. I tell kids all the time, if you see me somewhere, if you say choose well, I'll say, oh, yeah. And if I say choose well to you, say, oh, yeah, back, because that's our whole thing. We want you to know that your choices really do matter. And so these kids, they kept saying choose well to me, and I didn't respond to them. And they might have been upset or disappointed, but I just didn't respond. Well, come to find out, the reason I didn't respond to them, because they were not saying it to me, they were saying it to someone else. They saw this black guy they thought was me, and they were saying, choose well to him, choose well, choose well. And I heard this story from the actual guy. He's a father at one of the girls at school. And he said, man, these kids kept yelling at me, choose well, choose well. And I was laughing because they thought he was me. And I looked at him and said, look, bro, just say, oh yeah, so these kids aren't mad at me next time they see me, like I'm ignoring them, right? Just say, oh yeah, back, and they'll be good, right? So I thought that was pretty funny that these kids thought that was me. But anyway, I really do enjoy what I do. I really enjoy speaking to students and actually adults as well, because our message is very important. When you make better choices, you'll live a better life. So choose well. Now, you should be saying, oh yeah. Can I get oh yeah? I can't hear you, but you should say oh yeah anyway. So with that said, I think I'm going to end this episode of Ask Mr. Brown. If you want to be a part of the show, there's many ways you can do that. Just go to our website, askmrbrown.com, and you can be a part of the show. You can submit your question right there on the website, askmrbrown.com, and I would love to give you my perspective on your question on the next episode of Ask Mr. Brown.
You like free stuff? You know you like free stuff. Well, you could win some by leaving your question or your comment on the 24-hour feedback phone at 530-535-8121. Did you get that? 530-535-8121. Or visit our website at askmrbrown.com.